Hello, all. We're back with Deep Images. I hope you're having a happy Halloween. We are on our second Halloween 2025 subject, and it's going to be one we explored last year by popular demand zombies. You can't go wrong with zombies. Last year, we covered quite a few classics and obscurity, so we're continuing the tradition this year. Before we get into that, though, I do want to say please drop a like on the video. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You can hit the notification bell so you'll get our reminders, and your subscription won't get lost in the YouTube algorithms. So if you do all that, can keep giving you great content and onward. So let me introduce the crew. So clockwise or counter, depending on your screen. I've got Robert Seghetti. I have the amazing AC Nicholas, the wild CF Roberts, um, Justin Cotton live from Australia, and Bill Mulligan, co-founder and cat lover. So this man is going to lead us off with a very infamous entry in, you guessed it, Italian zombies.
Yes. Yes. Is there anything better than Italian zombies? I mean, zombies are near and dear to my heart. I've worked on 5 feature films with Christine Parker's Adrenaline Films and Sick Chicks, and of those 5 films, 4 of them were zombie films. One of them was a mummy movie, and I don't really see a big difference. It's just a zombie wrapped in bandages. You know, what I don't know where we draw the
An
distinction here.
undead, yeah.
And the thing is, if you're an indie filmmaker who loves horror, you always have a zombie film under your belt. It's probably your first film or your first 5 films. And that's largely because George Romero did such a great job of setting the rules. You don't need to go into big, long, boring explanations. Everyone knows what a zombie is, how to kill them, except in Italian zombie movies where the hero always wastes the first 4 or 5 shots hitting him in the shoulders, the spleen, the knees, everything except the head.
After he's already been told by another character to hit him in the head.
After he's already done it, you watch The Beyond, and people say, well, The Beyond has a dreamlike quality. And they're usually talking about the fact that it ends with the people in an oil painting. But I think it's got dreamlike quality in that the hero never learns to shoot them in the head. He just always keeps on doing that. Shoulders take out nobody. I mean, even if you're not an undead creature, getting hit in the shoulder is not going to knock you down. But okay. Anyway, but zombies are great. And the Italian film industry at that time was very much operating on if it's a hit in America, we're going to see if we can make a whole bunch of movies like that, only cheaper. So George Romero, 1968, Night of the Living Dead, took the lamest monster there was, zombies, and turned them into the coolest monster next to werewolves and vampires by making them into cannibals. It was a brilliant move because otherwise they're just slow and stupid and kind of sad and pathetic. But turning them into cannibals, whoa, now they became a perfect metaphor for death. Yeah, they're slow. Yeah, you can outrun them for a while, but you're going to get tired and they're not going to get tired. And you're going to get hungry and they're always hungry. They're relentless. They keep coming for you. Slow zombies are the perfect metaphor for death. That's why I've never understood fast zombies. Who needs that? The Italians went and ran with it and came up with a lot of really good stuff. Lucio Fulci's Zombie, amazing. Just so many really great ones. They also did the same thing with A Man Called Horse and had the entire cannibal genre, which didn't last long, burned out pretty fast, reached its apex with Cannibal Holocaust, and then had nowhere to go. But then someone had the idea, zombies are already cannibals. Why not have a movie that combines cannibals with zombies? And I know already there's somebody furiously typing something about it. Technically, zombies aren't cannibals because they don't eat other zombies. And I just want to say, do you hear yourself? I mean, are you happy with how your life has gone? That this is,
They're anthropology majors.
yeah, this is the hill you're going to die on. But along comes, yeah, I'm always amazed. Along comes Zombie Holocaust among its many titles. In fact, Zombie Holocaust has really too many good titles. It's like, let's save a little for the rest of us. Oh, okay. So here we go. Let me just give you a list of some of the stuff that this was. Zombie Holocaust, which is already great title. Um, Island of the Last Zombies, Queen of the Cannibals,
Hmm.
and of course, Zombie 3. Because one of the other things that the Italian movies tend to do is just stick a number at the end of a title as if it has anything to do with other things. So Zombie 1 was actually Dawn of the Dead. It was called Zombie and everywhere else in the world. Lucio Fulci's Zombie in America was called Zombie 2 everywhere else because it was the non-sequel to Dawn of the Dead. And this one is called Zombie 3 because it's the non-sequel to Lucio Fulci's
But there's
Zombie 2.
actually a separate Zombie 3 that Fulci produced with Malte.
Oh, sure. Well,
So
that's
it's
the other
like
thing too.
confusion, which one do you go? Which one's in order?
Oh, yeah, the confusion, I think it's not a bug, it's a feature. It's perfectly possible to accidentally rent three what you think are three completely different movies and watch the same movie three times. Whatever. Um, this movie is just okay. So right off the bat, let me say it's terrible. This is not a good movie. It's directed by Marino Girolami, who, as far as I know, didn't go to do anything else that I remember.
But his family is very well known.
Oh,
He's
what they
that
do?
he's actually the uncle of Enzo Girolami, who went by the name Enzo G. Castellari, who
Hmm.
directed Kioma and a bunch of other great
Oh,
movies.
I love Kioma. Oh,
Yes.
okay. Well then. Well, now I see how this guy got
But
his
it's like
job.
his older uncle was still doing special effects kind of stuff, and I don't know.
Yeah.
So he wanted to get in on
This.
it.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, this movie, it doesn't really have a whole lot of things that make you say, "Boy, I can't wait to see another movie from this director." But what it does have is a little something I like to call moxie. I don't know what actually if that's true. It's it's shameless. This movie is absolutely shameless. It opens up in New York, where they in a hospital they find some orderly who's been eating dead bodies. Ew. And then he jumps out a window. The dummy, like its leg comes off on the way down. So we're talking some great effects here. But who knows? Maybe that was supposed to happen. They decide to go make an expedition to the island that he came from. Why? I don't know. I'd immediately cross that off the list of islands to go to, but they go there, and it turns out to be a big mistake indeed because this island is full of cannibals and zombies, and they're not the same. The cannibals are just your basic Italian cannibals, just caked in mud, and they're pretty tough on people. And the zombies are really messed up. Now the zombies are pretty good. They're deformed, they're slow moving, they're creepy looking. They're slow enough that you can kill them with an outboard motor. Actual scene in the movie. I mean, there aren't too many threats that are so damn slow that you can heft up an outboard motor, no easy task, turn it on, and have them sort of walk into it and just like pulverize and everything. And that's pretty gross.
I think
But I gotta
Peter
say,
Jackson saw that one, though.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
gotta say,
right.
it's the cannibal stuff is what really works because there's a whole bunch of scenes where they're walking through the jungle and they step on these green beret Viet Cong traps that just lasso you, lift you up, spin you around, and throw you into a bunch of spikes. And then you
Yeah,
just
that's in a
fly
bunch
off.
of those
Yeah.
cannibal movies. There's
Oh
horrible,
yeah,
brutal
absolutely.
shit.
And but the best one, some guy he gets spiked, but he's still alive. Didn't hit any major organs. And the cannibals go running up there and they slit his throat. And I gotta say, it is a good effect that the blood sprays out. And these cannibals, one after another, take their turn at the water fountain and are just, hey, move over, let me get some. And they're drinking his blood as it spurts out. And you just gotta like, bravo.
They don't
Yeah.
share.
What next? They cut out his eye and pop that down like an olive. But the cannibals are afraid of the guy in charge of Cannibal Holocaust. And see, in the United States, it wasn't called that. It was called Dr. Butcher, MD, medical deviant. That's what the MD stands for. which is again, how many great titles can this movie have? They did a great job with the ballyhoo, something that is completely lost, and no surprise to me that movies are going straight to hell in a handbasket. They don't know how to market anything anymore. Movies just sort of come out. There aren't any critics that anyone listens to. I mean, whether you like Siskel and Ebert or Pauline Kael or whatever, you actually cared about what they thought, even if it was just to disagree with them. But they could have, they'll put out a poster now and it's like so and so from my mom's basement.com says 2 thumbs up. Who cares? I don't know these people.
This
They're,
is why I think the future is podcasts like this, and not, as Chuck and I've mentioned before, Rotten Tomatoes. I think the Rotten
yeah,
Tomatoes culture has gotten insane,
sure. Well,
in my
it's
opinion.
also, yeah, it's also, become so easy to manipulate one
Right.
way or another. But they had this movie. It wasn't a great movie, but they came up with a pretty good title. They came up with a pretty good poster. It's sleazy. It tells you exactly what you're going to get. And they came up with the Butcher Mobile.
That was the
The
name of
Butcher
it.
Mobile, an ambulance
Oh,
with looked like it was covered in blood, advertising Dr. Butcher MD, driving around, and guy with a big megaphone or whatever, telling you all the horrible things you would see. That's brilliant. I so wish I'd taken more advantage of it when it was around, but there were a few times I walked down 42nd Street at the Grindhouse theaters and got to watch a couple. I wish I'd done more because it was a scary experience. The very nice lady behind the counter told me don't use the bathroom, and
were you
I
a teenager?
yes, I was. I was way too young to be doing this.
Yeah, right.
Way too stupid and innocent. I'm from upstate New York. I don't know what's going on. My idiot girlfriend was so dumb that I don't know if I told the story. If I have, just tell me to stop. But we were walking, a bunch of us went to New York. We're walking down the theater and we're going by all the sleaze and, X-rated porn and all kinds of stuff. Innocent now, but and we go past one. It was the Adonis Theater, and it's like all male film, X-rated all male film. And she's like, "Oh, good. So finally, they have one for us girls." Well, it's a good thing you're cute, because damn, yeah. But then I was also, then one day I went there and all those theaters were gone and there were Disney stores, and it's just like, what have you done? Now I understand. I don't want to be a jerk. If I had to live in 42nd Street, I'm sure I would have gotten real tired of the pimps, the hookers, the drug dealers, the chicken hawks,
Right.
all this horror going on there when I'm just trying to live my life. I mean, there's only so much porn you can watch. So I'm sure the people there appreciate it when things got cleaned up, but gosh, we sure lost a lot. But I guess it was going to die out anyway because video would have replaced all that. Dr. Butcher was perfect for the Grindhouse experience. It makes no bones about it. My favorite scene in it is when Dr. Butcher. This movie's virtually plotless. I mean, it's just one. It's like a Harryhausen movie with gore. You just sort of go from one set piece to another, and here's the scene where we killed the zombie with the outboard motor, and here's the scene where Dr. Butcher is operating on some girl and she screams too much, so he cuts her vocal cords.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, this movie is perfect. It's exactly what you expect when you were, yeah. So it's garbage. When they brought it to America and they retitled it Dr. Butcher, for some reason they decided to also stick in over the credits, because they had to have all new credits now because they weren't using any of the 12 great titles. Scenes from a Wes Craven movie that was never finished and never released called Tales to Rip Your Heart Out.
Really?
Yeah. And I remember this because they talked about it a lot in a magazine I used to love as a kid called the Monster Times. And yeah, you know this. The Monster Times was a horror movie newspaper. It was printed on the cheapest ass paper possible, but it was a wonderful magazine because it filled the niche between the kind of childishness of Forey Ackerman's famous monsters and the maybe we're getting off the topic a little too highfalutin Castle of Frankenstein, which I love, but also Castle of Frankenstein came out like once every 12 years, it seemed like. And then there was Cinefantastique, which was very slick and all, but Monster Times was fun, and they had a whole article about this, and I was waiting for this movie to come out, never did. I guess it just got abandoned. It was like a student film or something. But you can see a few seconds of it, completely apropos of nothing in the rest of the movie at the beginning of Dr. Butcher, MD. I think it was something about a rock star who named Snuff Maximus, who dies and comes back as a zombie. And they just have the part of him walking around the graveyard as the creepy. I love the music for these low budget Italian zombie movies. It's just like Dave and his synthesizer. It's not a whole lot goes into it, but it definitely has a vibe that's pretty good. Well, what else can I say about this movie? Not much. Oh, it stars someone who I rather liked, which was Ian McCulloch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was in some good stuff. He was in It, the Roddy McDowell movie about a
Wasn't
golem.
he in Zombie?
He was in Zombie.
Yeah.
He was yes, he was Peter West in Zombie. He was also in The Ghoul, the Peter Cushing Ghoul.
Oh.
He was in the rather odd Eye Monster, which was filmed in a kind of 3D that doesn't really work. So watching it now, and it's hard to find a decent copy, you're wondering, why is this camera moving around so much? I think it was filmed in that technique where if you wear certain glasses, if as long as the camera's moving, it gives some kind of illusion of depth.
Like an artifact.
Yeah, yeah. It didn't really work. He was also in Luigi Cozzi's Contamination.
Oh, that's right. He was.
Yeah. I think that was also called Alien Contamination.
Right.
But yeah. He's a comforting presence, one of those guys who he knows he's in crap, but he's a professional. He's not winking at you as he does this. It's he gives it his all. So, all right, is it a good movie? No. Is it a good zombie movie? Yeah, it's got enough to go for it. I mean, my standards are pretty. I set my standards relatively low for certain, Italian zombie movies, and I'm usually not disappointed. The whole Queen of the Cannibals. At some point, the heroine is kidnapped by the cannibals. You think something bad's going to happen, but the old racist trope, I guess they've never seen a white woman before and decide she's special. And you just want to tell them, it's like, no, she's not. There's islands of them all over the place. Manhattan's full of better looking dames, but okay. They decide to make her the queen, and that she actually, as their new queen, her first order of business is not fixing the septic system. It's everyone go attack Dr. Butcher and his zombies. So we end up with the great zombie versus cannibal fight that we wanted, and good wins in the end.
And Dr. Butcher's played by Donald O'Brien.
What else was he in?
A lot of having trouble off the top of my head.
Let me see.
A lot of
Donald
spaghetti
O'Brien.
westerns, a lot of European films of that period. He was I want to say he was in
Hold on.
one of my favorite spaghetti westerns, but my brain's kind of going blank a little bit.
Let's see. Hail Mafia. The Man from Interpol, Grand Prix, Night of the Generals. That's actually a pretty.
Yeah, that is a good movie.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
The one I'm thinking of was in. He was in a Nick Carter movie.
Yes, he was in Nick Carter and the Red Club.
Okay, so several spaghetti westerns.
Love some. Yeah, look at this title. God
Keoma.
Is my Cult 45.
He was in Keoma. He was one of the.
Wow, once again, Keoma keeps circling
wasn't
around.
Oh, he was Caldwell, the guy that the brothers sold out to.
He's also in a bunch. So they made a bunch of White Fang movies.
Two of them. Fulci made them.
Oh, Fulci made those?
Yeah, he directed them with Frank O'Neill. I've only seen the first one. I need to see the second one. I've been putting it off. But they're spaghetti westerns, technically.
Well, I get Challenge to White Fang is by Fulci, and White Fang to the Rescue is directed by Tonio Ricci, unofficial sequel.
Yes, the third, yeah. But Donald O'Brien was in Fulci's
Keoma, you're absolutely right. He's in Emmanuel and the Last Cannibals.
Yeah, I have that. I should have remembered that. I actually,
He's
this
in
is if you look at just by genre, his career has a pretty nice cross section of all the
it's
trendy
actually
genres
I'm
and
looking
early.
at some good stuff here. I mean, he's in
Yeah,
Yeti, Giant of the 20th Century, but he's also in the Inglorious Bastards,
the original.
the original.
That's a great one. It got
2020 Texas Gladiators,
yeah.
Warriors of the Year 2072. Uh-oh, it sounds like Road Warrior made money because here we go with our versions.
Yeah, they're great
Quest for the
with it.
Mighty Sword. Yeah, okay, so this
Sex of the
guy was
Witch. Yeah.
yeah, this guy was in he had nothing to be ashamed of. Good
Oh,
for him.
he was
He's
also
actually
in
he's actually pretty good as Dr. Butcher. He's really unlikable. He's a
oh yeah,
villain. He's a bad guy,
absolutely.
and as we like him.
Of the later his last few films, I don't know how big his role is because I haven't watched it in a while, but he was in The Sect by Michele Soavi, also known as Devil's Daughter, but it's really called The Sect.
Oh, you're
Have you
right.
guys seen that film?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how he must have had a smaller role, or else I just don't remember him as well. But I love that one. Yeah, that's pretty wild. Yeah, I knew if we turned over a few rocks, we'd find a zillion movies in there for him.
Sure. I mean, I admire there's people like Fulci. I mean, Fulci could hack it out with the best of them, but he was an artist, and it's interesting to me just how much my esteem for him has grown over the years because originally I was not a Fulci fan at all.
I
But
was
part of it was also watching bad prints of his films.
Yeah, the Bad Print of Zombie that I first saw really turned me off, and then I kind of
Hmm.
had to just try to keep going.
And he has his ticks, the overuse of close-ups of eyes and things. But you know what? He was good. Now some of the movies, these guys were working directors. Obviously, they're not
Yes.
paid a fortune because they're making lots of movies every year. Every year, two or three movies go down. This is not, Terrence Mann here. They're not shooting only during golden hour. They are hacking these things out as fast as they can. And the fact that there is any art to them at all is a testament to the craftsmanship of what's going on. I do like how European movies, a lot of the European movies, even when the budgets are low, there just seems to be a certain, I don't know, pride in making sure everything's in focus and, just a little bit more. Whereas the low budget American movies, more
Yeah,
of a punk rock vibe. I mean, there's
I,
good and bad in
it
both
is. Yeah,
approaches.
I mean, like the American movies we grew up with from that period are classics, but it's like you go back and you watch Asian movies, especially Japanese from that period, European, especially Italian, and the craftsmanship movie to movie is better. I mean, there's like
Yeah,
you just said, there's a certain and that ethos in Asia is still going. Why are South Korean movies some of those beautifully made on
right.
even when their stories aren't that great?
It is, it is fascinating though when you see, when you hear the stories behind things and you're like, that would never happen in Hollywood. I mean, my favorite was Branded to Kill, where, they get this guy, they say, okay, so make this movie, and then he turns the movie in and they're horrified. And I'm like, wait a minute, you guys had so little oversight over this that he was able to make Branded to Kill,
Because they were
that
used to him churning
insano
out
movie.
stuff, and then they just
Yeah, like nobody watched the rushes. Nobody was
no.
over his shoulder while he was editing it, and he hands in this thing, and they're all like, "Where did this come from?" It's like you guys just paid for it. All right, he's been shooting for the last few months there, so yeah, that doesn't happen here.
Suzuki was incredibly vindicated because even though he didn't work on a feature film until I think Ziegler Newseisen or whatever in the late '70s, he worked in television. There were protests in Japan from literary critics and fans. They forced the studio to give him some kind of recompense, and he was considered by the time the protests and things were over and it calmed down. He was considered more than he had been. He was considered like a brilliant artist. However, he couldn't get work for 5 more
Yeah,
years. So
it
his
was a different
reputation
time.
went up, but
I just love reading stories about when they play the Andalusian dog, they burn down the theater. I'm like, oh, where's that passion now?
yeah,
You know,
the rite of spring. That was
when did we stop caring? What would it take now to make a movie that would actually get people so upset they actually burn the place down? I don't know.
best you can hope for
Anyway,
now.
it's not going to be Dr. Butcher MD, but if you're looking for some sleazy fun, a good movie to put on the background when you're at a party or something, and everyone can just turn around like, "Oh my God, what am I watching?" Um, yeah. And as far as I know, it's really the only good zombies versus cannibals movie that was ever made. And coming near the tail end of everything, the kind of death of both genres, the Italian zombies, pretty much. I don't know what the last legit one was.
Well, Matai tried to revive that kind of subgenre. Those movies he did with Yvette, it's on, and
Yeah.
the first one I thought was, it was okay. I mean, above average for the budget. But the second one is very creative. I mean, because he starts going crazy with all kinds of zombies and creatures that can be grown in the lab, and they want to take over the world, and they're just grotesque. And these women have these suctions to their pregnant belly, sucking the babies out, and they're born as these evil but hyper intelligent zombies. And that's zombies the beginning. And I was like,
Wow.
Yvette, that movie's pretty damn creative, actually. So yeah,
I feel like the last one that I remember getting a release in America was Cemetery Man.
oh yeah, that was yeah.
And if
Hmm.
Oh,
that was the last one, that's a good one to go out on because
oh,
that was pretty
absolutely.
amazing.
Did you see that in the theater?
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. I talked a friend of mine to going to see it. He was not as big a horror fan as I am, and it was a hard sell to him. But by the end of it, the movie kind of forces you to love it.
Well, that last 20 minutes where it just becomes an existentialist road.
It's yeah, like wait a minute, you
I
know?
know it's great. I
Uh,
thought about one of us doing that this year. Last year, Marksman was going to do it, and then that's around the time he had to leave the channel. But one day we'll get to that
One
one.
day we'll get
Like
to it.
last.
Come on, zombie movies cover a wide
You
range.
guys have any thoughts about this one? These other folks on this here show?
I saw it in the theater in Philadelphia when it came out, and I saw the Dr. Butcher mobile
You
too.
saw? Oh wow.
Yeah, because they brought it to different cities. That movie was released by Aquarius, releasing out of New York City.
Hmm.
And Aquarius was owned and operated almost like a one-man shop by Terry Levine. And he was a Brit expat in the US, and he bought a lot of foreign films and recut them and dubbed them and gave them multiple titles and made a killing.
Hmm.
As those guys did. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about
Yeah.
you, Robert? What are your thoughts on this master?
I remember seeing it a couple of years ago, and I thought it was pretty laughable. I enjoyed it for the groove factor.
Mhm.
It was definitely interesting. I was a newcomer to the zombie genre at that time, so I remember being in the video store and the packaging looked good, and taking it home and ended up buying Dr. Butcher MD on DVD. So I own it. So,
I think
but
Severin
I
has
haven't
that
seen
like
it in a
super collection.
while.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I used to own it on DVD. Did you have the Media Blasters DVD?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I'd been hearing about it for years. Like when I was in college, a younger friend of mine who was a big gore hound before I was, he was like, Dr. Butcher, medical deviant. And he was bragging to people about how he'd seen it. And, it turned out, he hadn't seen it. He just, the name, like, was bragging rights. I've seen Dr. Butcher, medical deviant. And that was enough to impress somebody and then with
Yeah.
5 years earlier, our friends were like, I saw the Incredible Melting Man.
Whoa.
I know.
Watch out. We got a badass here.
I know. So I wasn't interested in it really until I got deeper into Italian cannibal and zombie movies, and then I'm like, why not? I didn't really seek it out, but when it came out on Media Blasters, I was like, well, it's kind of a keystone for what it is, so I'll check it out. So some of the things they were trying to do at the end were really grotesque, uh, but yeah, I thought the cannibal part. I mean, the idea is that they're using cannibals for experiments to bring the dead to life, or they're trying to bring cannibals back. I mean, it's like whatever will stick at the wall that they can throw that's
Sure.
kind of Frankensteinian, they're doing it. I did like that kind of kitchen sink aspect. I don't personally think it's a classic, but I think it's kind of on a lower, like the ones around that period you're mentioning, like the funky soundtracks. My favorite from around that period is "Eaten Alive" by not
Right, not the Toby Hooper.
Mangiati Vivi by Lindsay, and I feel like that movie. I mean, it's got an incredible funk soundtrack, and it has a similar story where they have to go to the country and find out what's going on, but it's so much more entertaining and fast moving,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really, I think it was necessary because to me, this is only my opinion. It's not a popular opinion among gorehounds, but in my opinion, Cannibal Ferox is terrible, with the exception of maybe one scene. And I feel like Lindsay was redeeming himself with Mangiati Vivi. But anyway, what did you think of it, Chuck?
Oh, there's just a story behind that one. Okay, I saw that in 97, and this was a period in time, it was right around the time my roommate and I first started getting into doing video. And he and I were going out, and we were just whatever fell into our filters. We were going out and renting piles of movies. We were renting these kind of avant-garde, like Henry Jaglom movies. We were watching Barefoot Gen, which is a World War II kind of atomic bomb based anime. We got Fulci's Zombie, and we got Dr. Butcher. And it was very hard for me to even tell you which one was which a lot of the time, basically because we watched those under the influence of so many substances and whatnot. So, which was kind of how we did back then. But, yeah, I just remember just nothing but good times, having a good time. If we weren't enjoying the filmmaking, we were yawking it up.
Mm-hmm.
In that milieu, the movies probably seem way better than they are, but that's the fun of it, you know.
Huh?
I said in that milieu, the movies probably seem a bit better than they are, but that's the fun of it. You're just
in a lot of the cases
enjoying the camaraderie to like trip out to these movies.
Yeah, it was less about the movies; it was more about who we were with, and there was just a lot of talk afterwards. Just my roommate soaking a hot dog in blue food coloring, and under one chopping it up, and under one substance or another, just saying, we're gonna be the new kings of gore. I think being the new kings of gore wound up with him going out and putting this half of a blue hot dog on our neighbor's windshield wiper or something like that, and that's the new kings of gore.
Transgressive.
Yeah,
and which I found absolutely hilarious, but yeah, very transgressive. But it was a time and a place.
The
and Dr. Butcher was all kind of mixed up in that.
Yeah, and I know Justin's a big fan of Zombie 4 After Death, but are you a fan of this one? This one of the Zombie 3s, or have you seen this one?
Well, I haven't seen it, but the whole concept of zombies versus cannibals kind of reminds me of the concept of Alien v Predator. That's that spin-off from Alien.
They got to
they
got to capitalize. Yeah,
very cheesy, very cheesy. But I kind of liked Bill's tangent at one point when he talked about where he saw it in sort of Times Square, because it reminded me of this doco I saw about Times Square, 42nd Street, around there in the early 1980s, when it was really quite sleazy and all the pawn shops and everything. And it was in the context of a Netflix doco that was about it was a serial killer who was in the early 80s, was killing off prostitutes in Times Square. But just as much, about a third of the show was devoted to the social changes around Times Square and the fact that it was a certain way in the 70s and up to the early 80s, but then it was
lots of great marquee shots.
Completely, marquee shots. They completely changed by sort of the late 80s, and it's become quite sanitized. And I've only been there when it's been a tourist hub, So in the
I didn't get to Times Square till 2005, so that's like a whole different. Okay.
Yeah, so that was just what I found that quite interesting, because it reminded me of that doco. I've probably been there through there when I was about 11 years old, when my parents took us to New York in the early 80s. But when I've been there most recently, it's been like 2019 or something, and it's just completely different.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Probably a bit of both.
While you're on a roll, Justin, do you want to impart some wisdom to the audience before we depart for this episode?
Yes, and thanks for watching as always. Please remember to drop a like on the video and leave a comment as well if you're so inclined. Subscribe to the channel, that's very important, and also hit the notification bell so you get our updates and ensure that you are alerted to those through the algorithms. And thanks again so much for watching.
Thank you. More zombies ahead. Good night.
And it's true that we cannot see that far behind. If we looked all the way in the past, we'd go blind. In the night, from the stars as they've all lived their lives, and the light that they gave as they burned and then died.